Well, the time has come, hasn't it? Vladimir Putin is facing an internal war over there in Russia. And this could be what pushes things over the edge, what makes the cup overflow, let's say, right? That causes unexpected internal problems and a stronger crisis. What is the biggest problem Russia has right now? The economy is clear. That's the problem it faces now as an oil-producing country. The price of gasoline is skyrocketing. People are going out to steal gasoline. And there are multiple videos showing how cars are left on the streets overnight. With the this one, well, what's it called? The gas cap lifted. Where someone already came and took the gas out? No, doesn't that happen? Or this didn't happen just 3 years ago, right? This is part of the war and what people endure, but it goes further than that. He doesn't care about this problem. If he steals some gas or there's a minor shortage, it doesn't matter to him. Well, that doesn't keep him up at night. What is keeping Vladimir Putin up at night is a confrontation he's having with his main banker. Vladimir Putin is having a tense exchange with Herman Gress, the director of Russia's largest bank, Sberbank. That is, you can ask bankers for whatever you want, especially the big ones, but you can't ask them to lose money. So, do you agree that that's not what it's about, right? I mean, the idea is, well, to accumulate, right? To make a profit at the end of the day, right? So here we're reaching a problem where there's no longer any profit. It's starting to become a bigger and bigger problem. This man, this is Vladimir Putin, and here is this man Herman Gress. There he is, right? At the Eastern Economic Forum, he warned that gross domestic product growth has basically slowed to zero, and it has stayed that way from July until now. He points out that the country is simply stagnant. Putin responded immediately, obviously denying it. He says that's not true, that it's not like that. He says loans have stopped. No, the pace has simply slowed down, the president defended. Experts say this clash reflects the disconnect between the Kremlin and the financial community. One thing is what Vladimir Putin is told is happening, and another thing is the reality. And no, nobody likes to give bad news directly to Putin. Putin has gotten himself into trouble before, defending something while other Russian leaders say the opposite. But his close ones and inner circles don't want to warn him about what's really happening, so he goes out and, let's say with good reason, he says, look, this isn't happening. Until suddenly he realizes, well, yes, it is happening. According to analysts specialized in Russia, they say that this clash is a sign of how the Kremlin is disconnected from what's really happening in finance. The economist Oles Pendysin explains the following. Public debate is now the only way economists have to communicate problems to Russia's top leaders, who do not want to listen. They attend public debates, radio and television to explain and present the problems. So those above will listen, since they're not getting the information. The Russian economy grew by 1% in the second quarter of 2025, far below last year's growth, which exceeded 4%. And now it's at 0%. In recent months, the state bank BTV reported 2 consecutive quarters of contraction. And contraction, is obviously a problem. A contraction that, well, those higher up don't want to hear about. Military spending absorbed 7.2% of the gross domestic product, the highest level since the war. Is it? The war, it's absorbing that potential gain and taking everything, so there's no growth. Military spending absorbs 7%, but it could be more next year if this continues. There's a deficit. The budget already exceeds 4.19 trillion rubles, surpassing the government's targets they had set before the end of this year. The sanctions are supposedly about to expand. both Europe and the United States are under pressure to do so. They have pressured each other. Russia, the United States, Europe, the United States, and the United States and Europe are pressuring each other, saying, you lower and impose more sanctions and impose more tariffs. Reduce business with Russia, particularly in Europe and certain countries. And it seems that's where things are heading, especially because, well, the Poland case with these missiles, well, these drones launched, the Romania case from yesterday, right? And multiple cases related to that hybrid war that's happening right now. So, if the blow is aimed at the economy and not at any other sector, it's going to hit the economy, and the biggest problem is the economy. Well, obviously, that's where the next problems are going to come from. On the other hand, changing the subject, well, Romania has confirmed they couldn't shoot down the Russian drone that entered their airspace. Since when they were about to shoot it down, this drone crossed into Ukrainian territory, and they didn't want to go into the Ukrainian side, so they couldn't do it anymore. It was on the Romanian side for almost an hour, but in the end, it supposedly ended up crashing on the Ukrainian side. That's the explanation given by Defense Minister Lunut Mostenu, who is the Romanian Minister of Defense. He said two F-16s took off to intercept the drone. They were very close to shooting it down, he says, but at one point it turned toward Ukraine, so they had to stop that shoot down, that order. Another attack is also drawing a lot of attention today. This happened at a metal plant called Metafrax Chemicals. This is Inferno Perm over there in, what's it called? In Russia, right? From the border where Russia is, just to give us an idea, that border is 1,800 kilometers long. Yes, it's really surprising. So, how far are the attacks reaching? How far are the attacks going? If we look, this is the map. This is the area that would have been attacked. And here is Ukraine, 1,800 kilometers. Just imagine, right? We're already talking about, what would it be from here to Cancun, right? From Monterrey to Cancun, something like that, right? I mean, a missile, well, a drone from Ukraine. From the ones they've launched up to that point. Let's go into the details of what is known so far. In Ukraine, a new drone attack was launched against critical infrastructure in Russia, this time at a record distance of 1,800 kilometers from the border. The target was the Metafrax chemical plant, located in Gubka, in Perm, in the Perm region, in the far west of Russia. According to Ukrainian intelligence sources, the attack took place on September 3rd at around 9:20 p.m., as reported by the regional governor Dmytro Makolin, although he did not reveal the name of the company, according to reports. Also, another strike that took place today was against Krishny, one of the most important refineries located in Leningrad. Ukrainian units conducted the attack with drones and special operations, according to the Ukrainian General Staff. Governor Alexander Drosvenko confirmed that 3 drones were shot down, but the debris caused a fire at the plant. No injuries were reported, and this place can process 355,000 barrels daily. That is another strategy that Ukraine has been carrying out, which is to hit the oil because directly it also affects the flow of gasoline and fuels, the military, but also the economy. And that's another problem that is increasingly being added more forcefully to Russia. An economic problem, because its main source of income is affected by a fifth. Could that problem grow? Obviously.